Hey Pepin,
Yo, yo.
didn't you recently go on a hot date?
It was kind of hot, but, yeah.
Oh, we need to talk. Welcome back to the show. So glad you could join us. I'm here today with Nathan Pepin. How are you doing, Nate?
Doing pretty good.
Glad to hear it. And of course, we have a special guest here today, a new voice. We didn't want you to hear it without first hearing a name. You would be confused. His name is Matt Drew. Tell me a little bit about yourself, Matt.
Hey guys, what's up? It's Matt Drew. How are y'all doing?
Pretty good, thank you.
I know you asked me to tell you a little bit about myself, and I immediately asked you a question. I refuse to answer that question. I will not tell you anything about myself. I'm just going to be a mysterious voice.
It was just being polite anyway. I don't care. So, the topic here today is going to be about dating stories and kind of crazy things that happened maybe while we were dating somebody or on a first date or something like that. And I specifically asked Matt Drew here today because I know that his life in general is completely insane, let alone his dating life, which just kind of takes it to a whole new level.
Yeah, I cry on the regular.
And I think that's extremely reasonable.
Yeah, you know.
Now, I did want to start off by asking, what we teased in the beginning. Nate, could you tell me a little bit about the recent date you went on?
So it was with a former coworker, and it's just to test the waters, and it didn't end up working out, so,
Wow, that was really, really fast.
That was an intriguing story, I gotta tell you.
I'd love to hear a little bit more. What makes you say that it didn't work out?
She said she didn't want to date me anymore.
Oh. Whoa!
That's fair enough.
Wait, where did that come from? Was it like halfway through dinner? She was like, you know what? Not working.
Well, I don't know. We started making out and stuff, and then, I don't know. And then,
Like in the restaurant, in the car,
well,
in the
no,
parking lot?
it was like in the parking lot at the beach.
Ooh.
That's romantic. Was it sunset?
We went to the sunset earlier in Agunquit because it's, more fancy there.
Yeah,
Obviously.
yeah.
Agunquit is known for two things: their sunset and a rad mini golf course.
You gotta choose your sunsets wisely, man. You can't just waste any sunset on a girl. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna give her a York Beach sunset.
Yes.
You're gonna give her... What are you gonna give her? Jersey Shore sunset?
Subpar.
There's a sunset every day.
Great.
Wow. Wow, that was deep.
Well, exactly, but you gotta still, like... What?
Getting closer to the mic. Remember
Okay,
before we started when Nate's
okay.
like, hey, if I give you this sign, it means getting closer to the mic.
I thought
Matt's
he was like
"What the
trying to
fuck are you
molest
doing?"
the mic's balls. He
Matt's
was like...
Matt's like, I don't think this
He's
is going
like
to work
he
out.
made. By the way, all you listeners out there, he made a fondling motion under the microphone, and I immediately felt weird about that. Like, where on the bear did he touch the mic?
It certainly wasn't fondling. It's just like tickling the balls,
Okay, that's precisely what fondling is.
No, fondling's a little more of a cuppage.
Okay.
You're kind of like, floating them around.
There might be some tickling in the fondling, but that's not necessary for it to be fondling.
Is this why the girl didn't want to date you anymore?
Because he
got into like the fondling, like the rules on fondling.
Because he tickled their balls instead of fondling them.
You know what? Actually, the rules on fondling have changed over the past few years. It's more of a cuppage motion now. Back in the early '80s, it used to be more of a like a little tickle here, tickle there type thing. But now it's a real cuppage. It's like there's liquids. You got to make sure that you keep them all in. Like.
So while we're talking about cupping balls, is there a dating story that you have, Matt, that might play into this theme in general?
Okay. Well, I've had a lot of girlfriends in the past, and a lot of stories have happened, you know, things that I'm not proud of, you know, and some things that I am proud of that were terrible. But, you know, I don't know, what kind of story you looking for? I've got like a story for everything, you know?
I remember one time you told me a story about...
I've forgotten a lot of my stories too.
About a girl you and her were in a car, and like craziness happened. And like one of you needed to like get out of the car like immediately because things were fucking weird.
Oh, was that me in North Carolina?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Tell me that story.
No, I can't, because think about maybe if I change the names.
Well, just don't use the name.
Oh gosh.
Okay, first of all, what kind of car was it?
You could always just use the first letter of the name or
Okay,
their age.
first of all,
Pepin
I don't
and
want to
used
tell
use
the
their-
real kind of car. You know, I'll change the name of the car. It was a Volvo.
Oh, was that when you had your Volvo?
Oh God, my Volvo station wagon.
That went over 400,000 miles and you didn't change the oil for the 100,000?
The cardboard license plate that I went to high school with every day.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah, okay, so in the Volvo.
No, because now that changes the story for me. I want to change the story for listeners, not for myself. Like, that's not fair to me. Okay, so I was in a Prius with this girl, and we're driving around. Now, let me get you a little backstory, okay? I've been talking to this girl. I knew her from high school, and we started talking, started flirting. I started, playing her little songs on webcam, putting her name into lyrics that, didn't have her name in them. And I was, just inserting her name into stuff so I could insert something into something else later. So I was really into the idea of inserting.
Flawless foreshadowing.
Flawless foreshadowing. That's what I always teach in my writing classes.
Foreplay, foreshadowing. It's just, that's great writing.
It really is.
And you write the story of your life. Please, go on.
Wait, just to be clear, she was from North Carolina or was she from here?
She was from up in the New England area.
So she knew her from around here?
Actually, I don't know if she originally came from North Carolina up to the New England area and then went back to the North Carolina area, or if it was just her going to the North Carolina area after living in New Orleans.
But she was first in your life in high school.
Yes.
And then things happened, and eventually she's in North Carolina.
Yep.
You're in not North Carolina.
Yep.
Webcam, inserting.
Yeah.
Continue on.
Okay. So I'm playing her songs. So I see her again after years of not seeing her after high school. I see her in person. She's only down for like a weekend. We spend all night talking. It's passionate. We tell each other about everything, every emotion we've ever had. We covered it. Checkpoint. Got it. Then she goes back. Okay. She was dating another guy at the time. And then essentially I dropped her back off with her boyfriend at the end of that night talking to her. I was like, oh, here you go. And her boyfriend was like, she had just blown him off the day before to go hang out with me. And that was going to be her last night with him. So things weren't going great between her and her boyfriend, clearly. If she was spending all night talking to me, some rando guy from high school, and her boyfriend's just like, hey, come on back home. Just come see me play Super Smash Brothers in my parents' basement. Like that kind of shit. So,
You do a great impression of me, by the way.
You do a great impression of me, by the way. Do people think that we just had that on repeat? No, that wasn't. That was two different voices, guys. If any listeners did they just play that twice? No. Two different voices. Mind blown. So we go, so we go on talking, after she leaves, I can't stop thinking about her. I'm playing guitar and I'm inserting her name into the lyrics that they don't belong, but I'm not even doing it for her. I'm doing it for me at that point. Instead of singing Roxanne, I'm singing her name, but I should change her name though for this story. Let's call her Anne Marie. So we go on webcamming for a while, and we're webcamming back and forth, and we're staying up late because, I was going to say there's a time difference, but there isn't. So North Carolina and New England on the same time zone. Me and her are talking. Then she's like, how about you come see me, right? Now, before that, I had wired her some money. That sounds sketchy, okay? Okay, I'm going to say, on my side of things, yeah, it sounds like maybe I was manipulated. I wasn't manipulated. I did wire her. It was only $40, guys, okay? She needed cigarettes and other stuff. Anyways, we're not going to get caught up on the whole me wiring her money. That's a very minor part of this story.
Was this like a MoneyGram or a Western Union or
MoneyGram? Actually, I think it was Western Union or maybe MoneyGram. I'll get those deets to you. Anyways, so she's like, you should come see me. Take a plane and come see me. And I was like, well, I do. I have like vacation time at work, but then I realized I didn't. So I had already bought the tickets before I realized I didn't have the vacation time at work. So then I told my job that my grandma died. I'm a terrible person. Sorry.
That's pretty awful.
But then here is a bad situation because I had already spent $300 and I would have lost it. I wouldn't, it was like when I poorly thought it out. I was like, it was like the week of, and it was coming up, and I was like past the point in which I could get my money back for the tickets. And I was like, either I'm going to lose my job and go on this trip, and then I'm going to be like, spending money I don't have, to eating and doing all that stuff, without a job. So then what I decided was I need some sort of situation which they couldn't argue letting me have time.
So how is your grandmother?
She died shortly after that. And I feel like karmically, I made that happen. Like it was like
so not only do you have to deal with the grief.
Month she died.
Not only is there the grief of your grandmother, but also the fact that you killed her.
Now, did you have to take time off again for your grandmother's funeral?
Yes.
Oh God.
But my other grandmother.
There's more than one grandma, guys. In the world, there's multiple grandmas. And I'm like, just coincidentally, another one of my grandmothers died. So they had to take that.
Did they make you bring in like an obituary?
No. Who's going to fact check my death of my grandmother?
I've worked places where they do.
Really?
Yeah, and I refused to, and I said, just take my vacation time then. And then, when I was promoted and other people would take the time off, the company made me have them bring in an obituary. And I'm like, guys, this is screwed up. Like, they're already grieving. You don't need to, make them rub it in their own face.
I would have made up an obituary.
Yeah.
That's dedication.
Well, the second time, it would have been okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you fly down there.
So I fly down to North Carolina. And, things are awkward. I'll tell you that.
Did she pick you up at the airport, or did you have to take a cab?
She picked me up at the airport. Wow. So what happens is I get there, and things are great in the beginning, hang out. But little did I know she was, doing drugs the whole time I was there.
Was she sharing?
No, it wasn't like that, dude. I mean, I'm good with weed. I'll, smoke weed. That's what I like. But I don't like pills. I don't like heroin. I don't like any of that.
So this stuff was a bit more extreme than you used to.
Exactly. So, but I don't know this is going on. See, if it was a movie, there's a version that's all from my perspective, and then there's a version that's all from her perspective. The movie from my perspective is PG. The movie from her perspective is NC-17. It was a real different story, guys.
That is.
Okay, for the first couple days, we literally don't even kiss. It's weird. It's really awkward. I flew all the way there.
And she was broken up with her boyfriend at this point?
Yeah, throughout the time we were talking over webcam, she had broken up with her boyfriend. So by this time, she was already, away from her boyfriend and was mine for the picking. Makes it sound like I'm a sociopath. I'm a serial killer.
It sounded a lot more like a sex offender.
I wired her money. I'm kidding. All right, so it's a transaction. No, I'm kidding. Anyways, so I was down there, for the first couple days. We don't even kiss, right? I'm sleeping in her mom's house. Her mom is gone. She's out of the area, okay? Now she's going into the bathroom for these long amounts of time and coming out. And I'm like, wow, this bitch has weird issues with her bowels or something. I don't know. So that's the only thing I could surmise, right? But turns out
Drugs.
which also give you really weird issues with your bowels, by the way. Just another side note. If you want to say the more intense stuff, yeah, it does. It messes with your bowels. I've seen a lot of documentaries. You can fact check that. I don't care. So anyways, you guys are looking at your phones right now. Both of them are looking up side effects to drug use. They're like, Steve literally just looking up bowel movements with drugs.
Anal tearage and or rippage.
Kidney stones?
So she's going to the bathroom for
I
drugs.
just love that moment. Anal rippage, kidney stones, just silence. Everyone's just like, yep, bye. Done with this story.
Facts checked.
Okay.
Go.
Okay, so now that the facts have all come in, they've all been checked, we can move on. So then, at one time, we're driving out, we just went to the supermarket. By the way, I was into this period where I was drinking a lot of Yoo-hoo out of the can, though, like a fucking adult. So she's like, I gotta make a side trip. I gotta make a what do they call that? Like, what's the word?
Stop.
A pit stop, yeah. And I'm like, okay, whatever. And she's like,
Okay, can I wire you some money?
Yeah, because I was Mickey Mouse in this story. And, okay, guys, oh, that's nice. And, golly gee, I love pit stops. And, so, anyways, I think she's just going to go to like a 7-Eleven or something, and she's just going to stop somewhere and grab some cigarettes or whatever, but.
Crack house.
Anne-Marie's inside the barn right now. She's inside there. I haven't seen her. It's been over 15 minutes. I'm not exaggerating, guys. I'm sitting in the car, and I'm getting freaked out. She comes out at one point, and she gets really pissed off at me. You know what I'm saying? Like this whole story got, like, really out of hand. At one point, this guy was screaming, and, that whole night got really messed up. So little did I know, though, she was like in there doing drugs, guys.
She wasn't buying the drugs. She was just in there doing them.
I don't know if they were giving her drugs or she was.
Did you ever think that at some point in? No.
At what point did you realize drugs were involved?
This whole story makes me out to seem like a real idiot. You know what I'm saying? I wire this girl money.
Yep.
I go down to North Carolina for her, and she's like, stringing me along, and and I think I think at that point we had been like making out. So I think at least I was getting some sort of physical thing out of it. You know what I'm saying? Because before that, I had done all of this without any sort of physical connection with her.
Naturally.
And let's be honest, how hot was she?
She was pretty attractive. I'd say she's a solid, like, I don't like numbering women because I think that is extremely sexist and that's not okay to number a woman. Like, I feel like, but, she's about a 7.5, 8. 7.5 probably is fair.
So she's like a 75?
I would say, I don't want to refer to her as 75 because everyone's going to think there's an old lady named Anne-Marie, which is a very old lady name, 75 years old, and I'm just like, take me wherever, I'm Mickey Mouse!
75 out of 100 because that's the life expectancy.
Okay, we won't use a number, we'll just use a letter. B-.
She was a B-, or maybe a B on a good day. She was a B.
It could be.
On a good day.
On a good day, she was a B. So like, anyway, so like so then the trip kind of takes a weird turn because I think I start to suspect her of a bunch of shit after this. Yeah, after this, I was very much like, you're doing illegal shit. Yeah, I have that much common sense, okay? So, we drive back and I'm acting weird towards her and then she tries to get really physical that night. I think she could sense the distance between us. And then like things got way worse because at that point I was terrified of her. So I'm like, I had a very imagine if you will, being intimate with someone you were scared of. Okay? Now, I'd imagine, it'd be a little hard to perform under that pressure. You know what I'm saying?
You get that fear boner.
I got the the worst case of gun shy.
Limbertail?
Yeah, so it was really awkward. That was a really awkward experience. So then I was like, get me the fuck out of here. Because this whole trip has just been a failure, you know? A real failure, especially one that I lied about my grandmother dying for. All of this just embarrassment and this just shame that I felt overcome me. Just like, I have just completely emasculated myself going on this trip, okay?
And coming on this show.
Yeah, and coming on this show. I don't know why I am saying this story on this story. This is recording. This is I don't care. Because I'm a real dog now.
What would you have to say to Anne-Marie if she were to hear this?
I'd say, Anne-Marie, it was never meant to be.
Wow.
I think I just outsadded your story. I think your story of making out with a girl in front of a sunset and her going, let's not do this anymore, is I think our level of sadness. Anyone listening to this podcast is like, these are two of the saddest motherfuckers I've ever heard.
Well, at least you got some, right?
Yeah, you could say that, right? I got some.
She was like, maybe B minus material. Hey.
B minus. It was
material? What?
Not even, yeah. This podcast is very anti-women.
Wow, we just objectified, like, really bad.
You guys don't have any female listeners, do you?
We don't know. That was the sentence.
We don't quite know the demographics quite yet, but we'll figure them out.
I'm guessing it's gonna mostly be hot girls. If I was to guess.
The listeners are probably tens. All tens, I would say.
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
Years old.
So, Steve.
Yeah, what's up, Pepin?
Any interesting dating stories?
You know, we've kind of had this idea planned for a little while that we were gonna do this, especially with Matt Drew specifically. And I've thought really long and hard. There's only really one that I can think of that would really be able to really pique anybody's interest in any way. It was back in high school, one of the first dates I had ever gone on. And it was with a girl from another town. And she brought along her friend. So and it was at a bowling alley in her hometown. So we go to the bowling alley and, well, I show up and like her friend and her show up together in her friend's car. So she doesn't like have her own way to come or go or anything and didn't want me to pick her up for some reason.
Her friend is the gatekeeper.
Straight up. So we're bowling and they're like not bowling. Like they could care less about the bowling and instead they're like chatting and like ignoring me. And like every once in a while they'll like throw one ball and walk away. Like they don't even know how to bowl. And then they spent like 20 minutes at the jukebox and didn't pick a song at the end of it. So that was pretty awkward in itself. So eventually, after like an hour of not bowling, I'm like, okay, this is pretty ridiculous. I'm like, what do you guys have any ideas? You don't seem to be too into this. And they're like, well, let's just go sit outside for a while. I'm like, okay. So I pay for all of our shoes and all that shit. And then we go sit outside.
Damn, by the way. I just want to cut in right there. You paid, man.
And I had to pay for her friend too. Like
you paid for her friend.
I had to pay for everybody.
Were you sleeping with her friend too that night?
There was no sleeping going on. There was no bowling going on. There was no jukebox songs being picked. There was a lot of nothing.
I thought, if her friend was going to be there,
So we go outside to the parking lot and her friend starts like walking away from us and we're like standing in the doorway awkwardly, like not making conversation, avoiding eye contact. And then her friend's like walking across the parking lot and this bowling alley is on the side of like the busiest street in that city. And I mean, it's Maine, so it's not really a big city. But it's still the busiest one in there, and it's like a route. Like we have Route 202 up here and stuff like that. So after she's walking into this like perpendicular highway, and she walks into the middle of the highway, and it's like 8 at night or 8:30. So it's not like it's like midnight where there's nobody it's like a semi-busy time. It's Saturday night at 8:30. Like, all the streetlights are on, and she sits in the middle of the highway.
What the fuck?
And me and this chick look at each other, and we're like, "What the fuck's going on?" And I look at her, and I'm like, "What the fuck's going on? Like, is this like a thing?" And she's like, I don't know. She's weird." And I'm like, "She's your friend. You brought her. Why is this so weird?" And then her friend lays down. And she doesn't lay down like on the lines. She lays down like across the lines in the middle of the road on a busy highway. And I, to this day, don't know why. And I'm like,
I'm sorry. If this story doesn't end with her getting run over, I just stop now.
and I'm like, we have to go get her. Like, she's gonna get killed. Like, maybe she has like some sort of brain issue where like, I don't know what the fuck's going on. So we go over there, and like the girl that I was actually on the date with like stops halfway across the parking lot and won't go any further. She's like, "No, I'm just gonna leave her." I'm like, You're gonna
Dude, that's when I would have agreed. I would have been like, "Let's go get smoothies." Like, all right. We all make choices.
Long story short, I have to go drag her back from the middle of the road back into the parking lot, and then she gets up like nothing happened. It's like, "You guys want to go get a soft drink at the gas station next door?"
I don't even know.
And I'm like, kinda, yeah, Dr. Pepper.
Dr. Pepper.
And that was the end of the date.
So hold on a second. That was your first time?
That was my that was my first time saving somebody's life.
Oh, my cheeks. Ah, fuck. That was your first time?
That was my first Dr. Pepper.
Losing my virginity.
Though, actually, we're going to have to talk about first times, and probably do that next time.
That is a really, really bad idea. We should.
Yes.
That's a very, like, how do we out-embarrass ourselves?
I think I will out-embarrass the both of you on that one.
Oh, God.
Okay, so next time, when we get to talk, our first time and some of our first times.
Yeah.
Ta